So now, if you've watched Fox News at all, you may be, or you may have noticed a man named Bernie Goldberg. And you also lately, if you had tuned in, might have noticed that he is gone. Now, for those of you who don't watch Fox News, I'm going to tell you who Bernie Goldberg is, and why he's no longer there, and why this entire thing matters. Now, media is reporting that Goldberg had revealed in a Patreon post that he was no longer allowed to go on Fox News. Now, it was gradual. They started booking him less and less and less until they stopped booking him at all. Now, he says that, quote, Fox will tolerate a liberal criticizing President Trump, but the network didn't want conservatives taking shots at him. Sometimes I defended the president against what I thought was unfair criticism, but I was also critical of Mr. Trump, of his vindictiveness, and his dishonesty. Now, this is important because there is a debate going on right now of whether or not Fox News is a legitimate organization when it comes to news. And look, recently the DNC, Tom Perez, says we're not going to allow Fox News to host these debates for our presidential primary because we don't believe they're an actual journalistic organization. And in fact, this comes so soon after a report showing and this isn't my title, the incestuous relationship between the Trump White House, Donald Trump, the administration, and Fox News itself. Which, of course, buttresses the point that I've been saying for a long time, is that Fox News is basically the propaganda arm of the Republican Party, and now with Trump, they are state TV. They're almost on par with North Korea state TV. So, now, that said, Goldberg, he's a conservative. There's not much that I agree with him on, right? But there are some things that I actually surprisingly do. Now, look, he brings up that, is there unfair criticism of Donald Trump? Shockingly, I say yes. There actually is unfair criticism of Donald Trump. And I know that sounds strange coming from me, who criticizes him on a lot of things. Now, let's go to where I agree with that. Issues of trade, right? I agreed with him that the Trans-Pacific Partnership was terrible. And that NAFTA, also not great and needed improvements. Now, that said, I didn't really care for his improvements because he didn't really do anything because he's not smart enough. And he doesn't understand trade and all that stuff, right? Now, another thing is his previous desire to leave Syria, right? Now, of course, he reneged on that, and now he is in favor of keeping our troops in Syria, when earlier he said he wanted to pull out. But when he was saying, let's pull out of Syria because we don't belong there, our troops don't need to be in the middle of this war zone, and we don't need to be, provoking this, etc. I was actually saying, yes, okay, let's do that. Let's have a more sane foreign policy. Let's not go in and do regime change. Of course, President Trump has backtracked on all of that. But back then, when he held those positions, I actually gave him a lot of credit, right? And I guess that's the thing about Trump is that you got to watch when you give him credit because like 2 days later, he'll backtrack on it. But anyway, that's I know this was supposed to be a defense of Donald Trump, but I find it really, really hard. And I am trying. I am stretching, man. Anyway, now, here's the thing. Okay, another thing for Trump that I am okay with, right? Trying to do diplomacy with North Korea. I didn't like that he was cozying up with dictators, Duterte and, Kim Jong-un or whatever, but I realized that there is a way to do diplomacy, and I actually was giving him credit for reaching out. Now, I criticized him the other day for walking away from that and undoing everything because, man, like, here's the thing. I actually want peace with North Korea. I want them to denuclearize, and I want him to, go back to Iran and make a deal with them that he pulled out of, and etc., right? So, look, okay, anyway, there's a lot to criticize him. I know I said I was trying to defend him, but goddamn, it's really hard. All right, anyway, so let's go back to Goldberg, right? So now Goldberg says there's a lot of unfair criticism. I tried to make that point. I don't think I made a very convincing point, that I agreed with him. But he also pointed out that Trump is a vindictive liar, which is true. And that's good because, look, he's one of the few conservatives that's actually being somewhat honest about Donald Trump. So now what does Fox News do? What's their reaction? Well, they gave him the boot. He said, and those according to Mediaite, Goldberg had for months a regular guest on Fox News' Fox News host Bill Hemmer's mid-morning show. But then he says, quote, without ever telling me why, his staff stopped asking me to offer my opinions and analysis on his show. Goldberg said the decision to cut him off from appearing on Fox likely came down to ratings, as Trump supporters were more likely to change the channel if anyone criticized the president. Now, how's that for being in a bubble, right? Now, here's the thing about bubbles, right? You generally don't want to be in one. And I realize that as progressives, we have kind of our own bubble, right? But see, here's the thing. I think a lot of us progressives, we try to not place ourselves in a bubble. We try to read different sources and make sure to get different perspectives, right? For example, I like to, from once in a while, look at some conservative sources, see what people are saying, and I look at establishment sites. And I want to bring that, and I bring some of that opinion and stuff to you, right? I don't agree with it, but at least I'm out there seeing what people are saying so that I don't encase myself in my own bubble, right? And I know what they're saying about Bernie Sanders. I know what kind of attacks they're going to use against AOC and against progressives, right? But Fox News viewers, I don't think a lot of them do that. I think the hardcore viewers are in their own reality. And Fox News, they know their audience. In fact, part of their audience is Donald Trump. And let's be real about that, right? And look, Goldberg is not just going to mention, by the way, Fox News. He's also going to mention other networks. He said in cable TV news at Fox and CNN and MSNBC, the business model is easy to understand. Give the audience what it wants to hear. Validate the biases of the viewers. Keep them coming back for more. In that world, I was a problem. Oh, truer words have never been spoken. And again, I don't agree with Bernie Goldberg a lot. But on this issue, what he just said there is 100% correct. Yes, that is unfortunate. And I think it's unfortunate because we see that in almost every medium, right? All these different networks, they do pander to their audience. CNN and MSNBC, for example, they talk nonstop about Russia. Rachel Maddow is now Russia Maddow. I mean, come on. They pander, and they use that to pander to the centrist liberals, of course. And Fox News panders to the Trump people with crazy propaganda and, constant attacks on AOC, etc., right? Now, progressives are interesting because, again, I've showed you that we're open to all different perspectives, right? But there is nowhere on television that our views are represented. No, it's true. It's true. And you go to CNN and you hear these panels on 2020, etc., talking about AOC, Bernie Sanders. Are any of those ever progressives? No. They almost never have progressives. Most of the people, the Democratic consultants that they talk to, are all part of the establishment. They're all establishment Democrats, and that's why, of course, they're saying, oh, Bernie Sanders, he'll never win the election. He's not popular with Democrats, despite being incredibly popular with both African Americans and Democrats in general. He's the number 2 spot behind Joe Biden. And in some polls, he is ahead of Joe Biden. So we do not get that representation in media. Now, of course, that's why a lot of progressives have ditched traditional media. That's why we're on online, right? But getting back to this guy, it's not a surprise that he is no longer there. If you're not towing the line for Donald Trump as a conservative, then Fox News is not going to be interested in you because he knows that Fox News is watched by Donald Trump. And so anybody criticizing him is going to make him angry, and he's going to call. This is more proof that Fox News is nothing more than state TV, nothing more than a propaganda arm for Donald Trump. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/tytnation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/tytnation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.